Black celebrities who are currently rotting in jail. Some of the most famous names in music, sports, and television are currently sitting in prison cells.
The case against Diddy, a judge sentencing Sean Combs to 4 years and 2 months in prison after the hip-hop mogul begged for mercy, essentially, in court.
Sean Combs built a billion-dollar empire and begged a federal judge for mercy in October 2025. R. Kelly sold 75 million records and is now 11 years into a 31-year sentence with no appeal remaining. A rapper won a Grammy on a Friday and was arrested trying to flee the country 4 days later. These are 10 black celebrities who are currently rotting in jail. R. Kelly.
Regarding singer R. Kelly, we are learning now he has been sentenced to 30 years in prison after being convicted of sex trafficking and racketeering in connection with recruiting women and children for sex.
Robert Sylvester Kelly spent the better part of 3 decades as one of the most commercially successful R&B artists in history. He wrote and produced hits for some of the biggest names in music, sold over 75 million records worldwide, and won a Grammy. Songs like I Believe I Can Fly played at graduations and church services across America. He was, by almost any measure, a genuine music industry giant. The collapse started long before the cameras turned on him. Allegations of sexual abuse against minors had followed Kelly since the early 1990s, and for years the entertainment industry looked the other way. A 2019 documentary series, Surviving R. Kelly, brought the full scope of the accusations into public view. Federal investigators in both New York and Chicago moved quickly after that. In September 2021, a Brooklyn jury convicted him on 9 counts, including racketeering, sex trafficking, and forced labor after a 6-week trial. Prosecutors described a criminal operation that spanned more than 25 years, during which Kelly used his fame and his entourage to gain access to and abuse girls and young women. A Chicago jury followed in 2022, convicting him on 6 additional counts, including producing child sexual abuse material. He is currently serving a combined 31-year federal sentence at the Federal Correctional Institution in Butner, North Carolina. His projected release date is December 2045. He will be 78 years old. In February 2025, a federal appeals court upheld both his convictions and his sentence after reviewing the case in full. The next man on this list was once one of the most powerful figures in the entire music business. His downfall took the whole industry by surprise. Sean Diddy Combs.
Words can't express what you mean to me. Even though you're gone, we still a team. Through your family, I fulfill your dream. In the future, can't wait to see.
Sean Combs built an empire. As the founder of Bad Boy Records, he launched the careers of artists including the Notorious B.I.G., Mary J. Blige, and Usher, and turned himself into a cultural figure who moved between music, fashion, television, and business without ever losing momentum. He appeared regularly on Forbes lists. His net worth at his peak was estimated close to $1 billion. For a long time, Sean Combs looked untouchable.
Sean Diddy Combs will be sentenced to 50 months in prison.
The first visible crack came in November 2023 when his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura filed a lawsuit alleging years of physical abuse, sexual assault, and coerced participation in drug-fueled parties he called freak-offs. Combs settled the lawsuit within 24 hours, but the settlement did not stop what came next. In May 2024, a security camera video from a hotel hallway surfaced showing Combs grabbing, dragging, and kicking Ventura in 2016. The footage spread immediately. More civil lawsuits followed from other accusers. Federal investigators raided his properties in Miami and Los Angeles in March 2024. In September 2024, Combs was arrested in New York and charged with federal racketeering, sex trafficking, and Mann Act violations. His trial began in May 2025. A jury acquitted him on the most serious racketeering and sex trafficking charges, but convicted him on 2 counts of transporting women across state lines for prostitution. On October 3, 2025, a federal judge sentenced him to 50 months in prison and fined him $500,000. He is currently confined at a federal facility in New Jersey. The story coming up involves a rapper who shot one of the most famous women in hip-hop, went to trial claiming innocence, lost every appeal, and then got stabbed inside prison. Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez was putting together one of the more impressive careers in Canadian hip-hop when everything fell apart in the summer of 2020. Born Daystar Peterson in Toronto, he had built a genuine following with a string of successful projects and a reputation for being able to move between rap and R&B without losing his footing. By his late 20s, he had multiple charting singles and a dedicated fan base on both sides of the Atlantic. On the night of July 12, 2020, Lanez and rapper Megan Thee Stallion were passengers in the same vehicle leaving a party at Kylie Jenner's Hollywood Hills home. Megan got out of the car. Lanez fired a gun at her feet from inside the vehicle, and she was struck by gunshot wounds to both feet. Lanez initially denied involvement and spent more than 2 years publicly casting doubt on her account. His 2022 trial lasted several weeks. The jury convicted him on all 3 counts: assault with a semi-automatic firearm, having a loaded and unregistered firearm in a vehicle, and negligently discharging a firearm.
Musician Tory Lanez, convicted of shooting rapper Megan Thee Stallion, sentenced to 10 years in prison. A judge in Los Angeles handing down that sentence today.
In August 2023, a judge sentenced him to 10 years in California State Prison. He was sent to the California Correctional Institution in Tehachapi. His appeal was denied by a 3-judge panel in November 2025, meaning his sentence stands in full. In May 2025, a fellow inmate stabbed him 16 times inside Tehachapi, collapsing one of his lungs. He survived and was transferred to California Men's Colony in San Luis Obispo. His earliest possible parole date is 2029. The name coming up is a Grammy-winning rapper who was arrested on a private jet trying to leave the country. He now faces the possibility of spending the rest of his life in federal prison. Lil Durk. Devontae Banks grew up on the south side of Chicago and turned a childhood shaped by poverty and street violence into one of the most successful careers in drill music history. He built his label Only the Family from the ground up, signed artists, and released a string of projects that kept him in the Billboard charts for years. In 2024, his collaboration with J. Cole on All My Life won him a Grammy for Best Melodic Rap Performance. He performed to a sold-out United Center crowd in Chicago on his birthday that October, sharing the stage with some of the biggest names in hip-hop. Everything pointed to a man at the top of his career.
Chicago rapper Lil Durk faces 3 new federal charges in connection to a deadly shooting in Los Angeles in August of 2022. The Grammy Award-winning rapper, whose legal name is Dirk Banks, is charged along with 5 alleged co-conspirators in a murder-for-hire plot.
4 days later, federal agents arrested him at his home in Broward County, Florida, as he was reportedly attempting to book flights out of the country. A superseding federal grand jury indictment unsealed in November 2024 charged Durk and 5 members of Only the Family with conspiracy to commit murder for hire, resulting in death. Prosecutors allege that in August 2022, Durk paid to have rival rapper Quando Rondo ambushed at a Los Angeles gas station in retaliation for the 2020 murder of fellow rapper King Von. The ambush missed Quando Rondo but killed his cousin, 24-year-old Xavier Robinson. Durk has pleaded not guilty and has been held without bail since his arrest. In August 2025, he was placed in solitary confinement at MDC Los Angeles after being caught with a contraband Apple Watch. His trial, repeatedly delayed, is now scheduled for May 2026. If convicted on the lead charge, he faces a mandatory minimum of life in federal prison. The rapper coming up has been sitting in a jail cell for over 6 years without a conviction. His first trial ended in a hung jury. His retrial keeps getting pushed further away. YNW Melly Jamel Demons grew up in Gifford, Florida, a small community outside Vero Beach, and started releasing music as YNW Melly while still a teenager. His breakthrough came fast. Murder on My Mind found a massive audience on streaming platforms, and his 2019 collaboration with Kanye West, Mixed Personalities, reached the top 20 of the Billboard Hot 100. He had the momentum of an artist whose career was just getting started, with a dedicated fan base and real crossover potential ahead of him. On February 13, 2019, Melly turned himself into authorities and was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Prosecutors allege that on October 26, 2018, Melly and associate Cortland Henry shot and killed 2 members of their own YNU collective, Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas Jr., inside a vehicle in Miramar, Florida, then staged the scene to look like a drive-by shooting. Investigators say ballistic evidence, phone records, and forensic data all contradict the drive-by account. Melly has maintained his innocence throughout. His first trial began in June 2023 and ended in a mistrial after the jury deadlocked at 9 votes to 3 in favor of conviction on lesser charges. He has been denied bond multiple times. His retrial, originally scheduled for September 2025, has now been pushed to January 2027 after a series of appeals and procedural delays. As of today, Melly has spent more than 6 years in custody without a single conviction. If found guilty at retrial, he faces either life in prison or the death penalty under Florida law. The story after this one is about a Brooklyn rapper signed to Jay-Z's label who traded his music career for a leadership role in one of New York's most violent street gangs.
Brooklyn-born rapper Casanova pleads guilty to federal racketeering and drug charges. The U.S. Attorney's Office claims Casanova led the untouchable guerrilla Stone Nation Bloods gang and directed a multi-state conspiracy in that role.
Casanova Caswell Sr. built real momentum in New York's rap scene under the name Casanova. His 2016 record Don't Run spread quickly through the city, and within a year he had signed a deal with Roc Nation, Jay-Z's management and label company. His 2018 album Commissary featured collaborations with Chris Brown, Fabulous, and Mozzie, and he had developed a reputation as one of the rawest, authentic voices coming out of Brooklyn. The streets and the industry were both paying attention. In December 2020, federal authorities arrested Sr. along with 17 other alleged members of the untouchable guerrilla Stone Nation, a Bloods-affiliated gang operating across New York. The indictment described a criminal enterprise stretching back to 2004 and accused Sr. of holding a leadership position within the organization. Prosecutors presented evidence tying him to a shooting at a Miami party in July 2020, a robbery at a Manhattan diner in August 2018, and a conspiracy to distribute over 100 kilograms of marijuana. In May 2022, Sr. entered a guilty plea on 1 count of racketeering conspiracy and 1 count of narcotics conspiracy.
Casanova copped to a shooting and a robbery into trafficking more than 100 kilos of pot. He faces between 5 and 60 years in prison when he is sentenced in December.
At sentencing in June 2023, U.S., District Judge Philip Halpern gave him 188 months, just under 16 years, in federal prison. He was also ordered to forfeit $50,000. His projected release date is 2038. In early 2025, Sr. posted photos from inside his cell showing notable physical changes from his years of training behind bars. He captioned one of them, "I lost everything and everyone, but I didn't lose myself." He has filed motions seeking early release and has publicly suggested he is waiting for a presidential pardon. Up next, a man who spent years playing a detective on some of America's most watched crime dramas, and then committed a real murder, carefully planned, tracked by GPS, and carried out in broad daylight. Glenn Big Baby Davis Glenn.
That's the only way you can stop me from eating hamburgers is put me in jail. That's what God said. I'm gonna stop you eating hamburgers. I'm gonna put you in jail. You don't want to stop eating hamburgers and Cheetos? You're going to jail.
Davis spent 9 seasons in the NBA and left with 2 championship rings. He won his first title with the Boston Celtics in 2008 alongside Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Ray Allen, and his second with the Los Angeles Clippers organization years later. Known as Big Baby for his size and his emotional playing style, Davis was a fan favorite who made a career out of doing the dirty work in the paint. After retirement, he stayed visible, appearing in the Amazon documentary series Big Baby, which followed his life after basketball. What the cameras did not capture was what he had been doing with money. Between 2017 and 2020, Davis participated in a scheme to defraud the NBA players' health and welfare benefit plan, a fund that exists to cover legitimate medical expenses for retired players and their families. He and 18 other former NBA players submitted fraudulent claims for medical and dental procedures that were never performed, routing the reimbursements to themselves. Davis was not the organizer of the scheme, but prosecutors confirmed he was a willing participant who filed false invoices and collected money from the plan.
I'm putting cases on all you bitches. You think you could, Jay? You think you could do this shit to me?
In May 2024, a federal judge sentenced him to 40 months in federal prison. He was ordered to pay $80,000 in restitution and to complete mandatory financial management courses and drug treatment upon release. In October 2024, Davis posted a tearful farewell video to social media and reported to begin his sentence. He is currently serving his time in the federal system with a projected release date in early 2028. The man coming up played a detective on some of the most watched crime shows in America. Then he spent months tracking a real person with a GPS device before shooting him 11 times in broad daylight. Isaiah Stokes.
You have my word. His name is Tyrese. Lance Corporal Tyrese Beckwith.
Isaiah Stokes had built a legitimate television career over more than a decade. He appeared in episodes of Law & Order, Special Victims Unit, Blue Bloods, and Boardwalk Empire, and had a recurring role in the 6th season of Power, the Starz drama created by 50 Cent that drew millions of viewers each week. He was working consistently in a field where most actors struggled to get a single credit. By New York standards, he had made it. In October 2020, Stokes attended a birthday party at a club in Queens where he got into an altercation with another man named Tyrone Jones after behaving inappropriately toward women at the event. Jones had him removed from the party. Stokes did not let it go. On January 29, 2021, he placed a GPS tracking device underneath Jones's vehicle. He monitored the car's location for 9 days. On February 7th, 2021, he tracked Jones to the intersection of Linden Boulevard and 200th Street in Queens, got out of a parked SUV, walked toward Jones's car, and fired 11 shots into the driver's side window. Jones, 37 years old, was struck multiple times in the head and chest and was pronounced dead at the scene. Stokes was arrested, tried, and convicted in March 2025 of second-degree murder and 2 counts of criminal possession of a weapon. Queens District Attorney Melinda Katz described the killing as calculated and premeditated. At sentencing on March 21, 2025, the judge gave him 25 years to life in prison. He is currently held at Rikers Island. The rapper coming up was fresh out of federal prison, had just dropped a comeback single, and within months was back behind bars on entirely new charges involving the robbery of his own former mentor, Pooh Shiesty.
I pulled up shooting, they was trying to fake dead, fucked up, let me touch a little bread. Get too mad and I play for some blood to be shit, nigga. Fuck your gang, you heard what I said. Oh, you called me, I'ma sleep on the bunk bed. Drake up, I take the calmness. Too geeked up on crosses out to me. 3 cup, he threw up on the league, he was scared. We step on shit, be quiet, no said.
Lontrell Williams Jr. emerged from Memphis, Tennessee in 2020 under the name Pooh Shiesty and moved faster than almost any new rapper of that era. His debut single, Back in Blood, featuring Lil Durk, became a genuine hit. His mixtape Shiesty Season debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200, and Gucci Mane signed him to his 1017 Records label. He had the attention of the entire industry at 21 years old. The trajectory looked steep and upward. It stopped in October 2020 when Shiesty and associates met 2 men at a hotel in Bay Harbor Islands, Florida, for what was arranged as a transaction involving marijuana and sneakers. The meeting turned violent. Shiesti's group pulled weapons, assaulted both men, shot one of them, and left with the drugs, the codeine, and the sneakers. In April 2022, Shiesti pleaded guilty to 1 count of federal firearms conspiracy and was sentenced to 63 months federal prison. He served his time at a high-security facility in Pennsylvania. In October 2025, he was released early and immediately dropped a song called FDO, meaning First Day Out. The freedom lasted less than 6 months. On January 10th, 2026, an incident occurred at a Dallas recording studio involving Shiesti and Associates and his former label boss, Gucci Mane. Federal prosecutors allege Shiesti and 8 co-conspirators kidnapped and robbed Gucci Mane at the studio. On April 1st, 2026, Shiesti was arrested. A federal judge denied bail and ruled him a flight risk. He is currently held at Kaufman County Jail in Texas, awaiting trial on federal kidnapping and robbery charges. The final name on this list is a former NBA first-round draft pick who turned himself into the ringleader of a multi-million-dollar fraud scheme that pulled in retired players, doctors, and dentists from across the country. Terrence Williams.
When your problem is told, your problem is again told. That's a no. I'ma tell a couple stories about the notorious route that niggas take when they thirst. Hear me out. In 5, 4.
Terrence Williams was selected 11th overall in the 2009 NBA draft by the New Jersey Nets out of Louisville, where he had been one of the most versatile players in the country. He spent 6 seasons in the league with the Nets, Houston Rockets, Sacramento Kings, and Boston Celtics, and earned a reputation as a player with genuine athletic gifts, who never quite found a consistent role. By the time his NBA career ended in 2013, he had made millions of dollars from the sport.
Ex-NBA player Terrence Williams has been sentenced 10 years in prison, and that is for that $5 million health plan fraud. He was one of 18 players initially indicted in October of 2021.
By 2017, that money was largely gone. What Williams built next was a fraud operation targeting the NBA players' health and welfare benefit plan, a fund set up to cover legitimate medical costs for retired players and their families. Prosecutors described him as the ringleader of a scheme involving 18 former NBA players, multiple doctors, a dentist, and a chiropractor. The operation worked by submitting false claims for medical and dental procedures that were never performed, then splitting the reimbursements. Williams recruited the participants, coordinated the fraudulent paperwork, impersonated health plan administrators using fake email accounts, and at one point threatened a co-defendant who tried to exit the scheme. Total losses to the plan exceeded $5 million. He was arrested in 2021 and held in a Brooklyn jail from the spring of 2022 onward after threatening witnesses in his own case. In August 2022, he pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit healthcare fraud and aggravated identity theft. A federal judge sentenced him to 10 years in prison in August 2023 and ordered him to pay $2.5 million in restitution. He is currently serving his sentence with a projected release date in the early 2030s. Which of these falls hit you the hardest? Drop it in the comments and subscribe so you never miss the next one.